Go.
We're recording live from the ATC Pop-Up Podcast Studio in downtown Phoenix at the All Things Comedy Festival.
Yeah!
I left out one of the comedies.
Woo!
Presented by Bud Light, Cityscape, and Tito's Handmade Vodka. It's the Long Shot Podcast.
I just want to point out that there's two comedies there.
I know I missed one.
Yeah. All Things Comedy Festival.
I'm going to get fired.
Yes. Folks, welcome to the Long Shot Podcast. I am your host. My name is Sean Conroy. With me today on the podcast, the passenger, not the navigator, in the front seat, Joe Wagner is here.
Thank you so much. That was a fun time. I had to do nothing but stare out the window.
The man who lags behind but yet arrives on time, Jamie Flam, is here.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me. Phoenix.
And of course,
That's where we are.
and of course, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, Miss Amber Kenny is here.
Yeah. yes.
First sincere round of applause of the day.
Finally a decent person to clap for.
Hello.
She has a third of our audience. Came for her.
A third of our huge audience.
Hey, we're doing great.
Yeah, we are.
We're
We're
wonderful.
of course
We're
we are.
worthy.
We're here in Phoenix.
I've been
right?
to podcasts
Podcast
in this
festival.
room with smaller audiences, just so you know.
Really? Who?
And it is a competition, by the way.
Yeah, name names.
Folks, we always start the show. Some of the people here are actually fans of the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Others are here by obligation.
Or
Familial
love.
ties.
Familial ties. Well,
Right.
that's obligation. Like, you know, it doesn't get more obligatory than that. Like, sure, I'll come to your recital. But we always start the show with a segment that we like to call Checking In. So let's start today's segment, Checking In, with, let's just talk about our trip down here for a moment.
Oh.
Or down here,
Open
up
it
here.
up.
I don't know what direction we...
Wait, did someone just ooh?
Oh, why? Because I
Too
said open it up. We went out east.
East. We drove east.
Los
We headed
Angeles to
east.
Phoenix is east.
Very easy drive from Los
Just
Angeles.
the
Can I
It
make
took us
a
about
fun related note?
a fun-related note?
I think it's fun.
Here we go.
Or a fun, comma-related note?
Comma.
Okay.
Always go with the comma. That's what my nana said.
That's not true.
Okay, so I got on
that's
the
where it
10 freeway
sounded
today. I
like.
did
Oh,
not
I
drive
heard
it
about
here.
this. Go on.
And very confidently drove west.
Oh, my goodness.
Because as you know, Phoenix is situated on an atoll in the middle of the Pacific
It was
Ocean.
so funny. But Jessica, my driving mate for the trip,
Your
and
driving mate?
That is not how.
Yeah.
my
You could say
You
passenger,
couldn't just say my friend that came
my
with
friend,
me?
my colleague,
No,
my
no, that's-
navigator, my passenger, all of the above.
It's a new app Jamie's doing, Driving Mate.
But she's like, you're going towards the ocean.
Steer left, steer right.
Won't you be my driving mate?
Okay, back to you.
Okay.
So
No,
you
but you went-
confidently headed west because you knew which direction Phoenix was
Right.
in.
Well, at one point we were driving down 3rd Street, and because she was like, "Oh, you're gonna take La Cienega, not Fairfax, because Fairfax is close." And I was like,
I
yeah.
love street stories.
Yeah, well, this one
Such
Okay.
an integral part of the long
because
shot.
street stories always take a turn.
Oh,
Oh, that's not bad. That's
that
not
was
bad.
on.
The new member of the audience is shaking his head. Welcome.
As am I internally. Go on.
So you
oh,
went.
yeah,
west
went
yeah,
down
and
what-
you
La
arrived.
Cienega. Yeah.
But when did you realize?
Oh, when Jessica said, what did you say?
Just tell the
Just
story.
make up something.
Don't
She's
put
right
your
here.
driving mate on the
She's
spot.
right here. No, she can say for a fact.
She said,
It's east.
"It's east."
Oh, that's so classic, Jessica.
That is classic Jessica. She's all about directions. One time I was like, I think I'm going to go south to Santa's
And she's like,
headquarters.
"Oh,
and she
that's
was like, it's north.
Yeah.
North.
All right. So we drove down here, Joe and Amber and myself, 6.5 hour drive.
Yes.
How was that for you guys?
Pleasant.
Yeah, it was great.
And we all I don't think any of us expected it not to be, but it was the first time we've all taken
You
a
don't
car
know. You don't know what's going to happen.
ride that long.
I'll be honest. I'll be vulnerable. I was nervous. I thought maybe we would all.
Hate each other.
Yeah. I got
It's a
some.
long time to spend in a Not a tiny space. I mean, I think
Not a
the
large
2005 Toyota Corolla has plenty of leg room, so I was delighted by that.
You and I filled up that front part pretty well, I'd say.
The
And I
front,
filled
the
up
front
that
part.
The
back
front part.
No, but I was so surprised with how fun and easy it was. I say it was easy. I wasn't driving. Maybe you have a different point of view.
But I want you know what? Let's start giving props where props are due. We should start off with the fact that Sean made a playlist for the road trip.
Oh my God.
That's true.
And
Unbelievable
and
playlist.
It opened with Will
On the road again.
on the road again. Willie Nelson.
Just
Willie
right on the
Nelson.
nose.
on
Like,
the-
just right
right
on
so
the nose.
on the nose
And
that you can't help but grin stupidly
it was
when
so-
it's
I
like,
mean, we
yeah,
were
we
still-
are on the road.
we
We're
were
outside
still
Amber's
in front of my apartment. And it was like, on the road again. My favorite moment was when we were on the 101 stuck in traffic in downtown Los Angeles, and John Denver's Country Road was playing. Like, it was just so not what was happening.
Right.
Here's a city choking on itself.
I really-
Country road, take me home.
I really tried to time the list out so that it would hit the right places at the right time, but I fucked that one
Oh,
up.
Yeah, we weren't on a country
We
road.
hit a huge snarl to get on the freeway when the Muppets Moving Right Along was playing,
Yes.
which was perfect.
Did Indio Rock come on right at that perfect time?
Nope.
What's that?
I don't even know what
What's
that
that
is.
one? Yeah.
It's a
He's
city.
making a joke about
But that's not a real song.
Oh.
It's a fictional world I just created that we could have all entered.
You know what? If you listen to the show, you know that Jamie creates fictional worlds, and that is
And
his
we
life's
choose
mission.
not to enter.
You all know the song Indio Rock?
Indio Rock.
Yes, and
We're not going to put that one on the album.
Sure,
Sorry.
that's fair.
No, I do know that you live in fictional worlds. In fact, I was talking to somebody the other night, and they were asking about your theater, and I said that he wants to create a world of comedy and enchantment. And this person was like, "What do you mean by enchantment?" I go, "I don't fucking know. I have no idea."
we can agree it's coming together, but we'll save that for later.
Yes, we will.
I think enchantment is one of those things you don't know it until you're in the enchantment, right?
Right.
Until you're actually enchanted.
But here was one of the.
Jamie just gestured
the
to
light-
the
the
7
lighting.
people in the room.
But
The fluorescent lights.
So we drove down here to Phoenix. This is my favorite part of the whole trip, actually. I'll be honest, this was my favorite part. Was that I knew where I was going until we got to Phoenix. Like, we had, straight shot on the 10 all the way out. I didn't understand how we could cross
Right.
from California to Arizona over the Colorado River. That did not make sense to me.
He kept saying that.
But we got here to Phoenix, and I had printed out directions.
This is what it's going to be.
And I gave Joe the directions. I said,
Joe,
Joe,
of
just
course
make
this is
sure
what
we
it's
know.
Of course, this is what it's going to be.
Make sure we know where we're going as we get off at this exit. And we got off the exit, and we immediately got lost. Like the first direction we had to do.
I gave you.
Joe gave me the wrong
opposite
direction.
Direction.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was
Thank
shocked.
you. There's a man here named Zach. Thank you, Zach. Go ahead.
Zach.
Go ahead. Amy.
It was, I guess, I was shocked because it had been so long since I had seen somebody using directions off a printed piece of paper. I think maybe that's what threw everyone.
Well, I had to copy them from the lithograph on the stone I had written them on.
Well, it was because I said get off on the
I know what you said.
north
You said
ramp,
it wrong.
north ramp, and it was south ramp.
Well,
Get off on the south ramp to go on to the north. The street was north, but get off on the south ramp, and that's what I messed up.
You had one job.
And I messed it up.
and it
But
was
not even like, you didn't even take any time. You immediately, like, that was the first thing.
You're right. It was the very first thing off the freeway. But then I thought, and tell me this is cute, right?
cute.
It's not.
No.
It's not.
What I'm about to say,
Oh,
this part is cute. Then, we got off the street,
I know what you're going to say.
turned
and
on
it's
the
not
little
cute.
side street. I thought it was cute. And then I turned to Sean and I was like, isn't it great how fast I noticed I made that mistake? And thanks. One guy thought it was cute.
That's how I felt too.
And Sean just turned and gave me one of those Sean looks. You know what I'm talking about.
You know what he's talking about if you listen to the podcast.
Right. Well,
Who here
yeah.
listens to the
looks I
podcast?
give.
1, 2,
Anyone in the back?
No, Jamie, don't do this.
3.
Anybody else, please? Does anyone listen to the podcast?
Please.
Please.
Is this supposed to be recording, by the way? Great.
So we made it.
So
we
we have
made
no
it.
back.
Did
Been
it.
doing this for 2 days. Leave him alone.
Yeah, we made it. Everything's fine. It
Sorry,
worked
I
out.
ruined the trip.
Can I ask a question?
I'll never let that go.
Yes,
Yes.
please ask a question.
Let's talk snacks. What do we got?
No, great question.
What is a good?
Nah.
We stopped at a Flying J that had one of those Wendy's Carvel
Ugh.
situations. I was scared of getting hungry, so I had a spicy chicken sandwich, some French fries, and a Diet Dr. Pepper. That's a lie. They didn't have Diet Dr. Pepper. That's what I wanted.
Oh.
I had a Coke Zero and a splash of Dr. Pepper.
Okay, two crazy things.
A Dr. Pepper
honesty.
chaser.
Keep
Joe
going.
had soft serve.
I had soft serve.
Sean had like a long sausage or something.
You know how I like my sausages?
It was a meat stick.
long.
It was one of those meat and cheese stick.
I just wanted
combos.
some protein. Like I didn't want to go crazy, but I just wanted some
Oh, bear tail.
spicy protein.
And then later I got some watermelon chewy sharks.
Those were not great.
They weren't great.
What about pumpkin seeds?
Didn't break into them yet.
I know. I saw some pumpkin seeds in our room.
Jamie and I are roommates.
Here's a funny thing. You said angry and hungry.
Mm-hmm.
This morning, before I left, got coffee.
Can I give you a piece of advice, by the way? Because this is the second time you've done this. Don't set things up by saying, here's something funny, and then
Oh,
keep
right.
going. Wait for people to judge for themselves.
All right. Here's something pretty compelling. It's that.
Here's a sentence.
That's much better.
I like that. I like that.
Much better.
I like that.
But there was a license plate on a car that said hangry one or too hangry.
What did it say?
Too hangry?
Too hangry.
Okay,
I think.
let's settle on that.
That's funny.
Too hangry
It
one.
was like
Too angry.
I forgot, but there were some funny allusions made about it, and it's like if you're that angry and hungry, you have some snacks in the car.
Stop driving around.
Just don't use the money to pay for that vanity plate. Just buy some snacks.
Yeah.
Are you reconstructing a conversation you had in the car on the way down here?
Yes,
Okay. Just making sure.
and that was
Were you
a
in
real
the,
world.
Were you in the sun, in the car?
What do you mean?
Like, was the sun hitting
Why
you?
did that offend you?
I mean,
What are you trying to say?
No, I would just want
Are
to know.
you trying to say I'm a creature of the daytime?
the sun. It was there's windows.
I did assume that there were windows on the car that you drove down here.
Not a heavy tint.
Okay.
What are you going for, Joe?
Like he was.
A little sun baked.
Yeah. I knew what he was going for. I don't know how.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, you sent an email. I told the long shot gang that I wasn't going to be able to join on Friday, and you said in Spanish.
Oh, I said something in Spanish?
Yeah.
I'm forgetting.
No hablo español.
What did he say in Spanish?
¿Dónde está mi reloj?
Oh, vaya con Dios.
Vaya con Dios, which means go with God, right?
Yeah.
I'd never heard the term go with God before until earlier this week. So the fact that it came back again.
You had
in
never
Spanish.
heard vaya con Dios?
No.
We've never
Or-
heard go with God?
No. Not in that context. Someone texted me, go with God, and I was like, what does that mean?
Folks, you're listening to a watershed moment in Jamie's life.
That makes this a special show
Yes.
already.
Go with God?
Totally.
Yeah.
But you went with Jessica Kelly.
Not God.
You're very
you
adamant
know.
about that.
We are all God's children.
Hey,
So,
True that.
ain't
true
that the truth?
so anything else about that trip?
Well, I was a little I'm sorry. I was going to say I'm always a little self-conscious on a road trip. I was telling Sean earlier because I feel like I get very quiet. Like I'm not naturally talkative. Welcome to the podcast. But because I tend to
Disagreeing.
I really tend to zone out on road trips and I just love the passing images of the countryside, and then it's like you come off as like a creepy silent
Yeah, no,
guy.
I was sitting there and I was going, God damn it, I wish Joe would say
Say
something. This
something.
is so awkward.
No, I know, but that's just, it's my own thing, you know. Where
Yeah.
it's like I know neither of you were ever feeling like that, but at the beginning I was like, you know,
Oh, I felt like there was a couple of hours of very tense silence in the car where
Not
none
at
of us
all.
was speaking.
Not at all.
it wasn't tense, but you know, there's a time where it's like, there's always a time on a road trip where everyone in the car realizes like now it's quiet time.
But that's a good time.
Right,
When there's three people, it's less awkward than two, though.
Oh, that's fair.
right.
'Cause
What
it
are you
isn't
what
like-
are you what are you saying, Jamie? were there some very tense?
Oh yeah, did you and Jessica have some?
Oh, that does seem like that implied that. No, it was good.
No, they were too busy going, what about hangry this, hangry that?
Yeah, we hangry for 6 hours.
Too hangry.
Did you have any
Too
good
angry.
inside jokes?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
We had some inside jokes.
There's like
We had some
Halloween
inside
people.
jokes.
This is like really weird.
What's happening?
There's zombies.
Oh, there are zombies literally looking into the pop-up studio right now.
Where's Brendan? This is a picture.
Yeah, I would love
That
it
was a
if they
good
broke the
Instagram
window.
moment.
Yeah. All right, so checking in on the road trip is done. Let's go next
Moving on.
to Joe.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Zach.
Joe, yeah, give
Zach
Joe
is
a
a fan.
hand for going
Oh.
next.
Thank you.
Let's give Joe a hand for
Going
next.
first. Going first. All right.
We already checked in on the whole road trip thing, but
Right.
go on.
Personal check-ins beginning now.
Right.
And speaking
Starting
of
with Joe.
personal,
Oh my god.
speaking of personal, so Sean and I were talking about this earlier, but we recently there was a recording of the show, and if you're a new listener, then maybe you'll listen to that show, maybe you won't. Anyway, there was recently a recording where in telling a story, I'm going to be very discreet about this, you guys know it, but in
You
telling
said
a
that
story.
last time.
No, but I am, but I very much am, and I thought I was back then too, but.
You were not.
No,
Opposite.
discreet. Well, I was specific, but I don't think I was
Graphic.
graphic. Right,
You were graphic.
a little graphic for some. It is an adult show,
For people who understand language, yes, you were graphic.
so I like to think that I paint a picture. But anyway,
It was graphic.
okay. So I recently, in telling a story, I divulged something about someone who I have kept anonymous the entire time.
True.
Totally anonymous, but I divulged something about them that if they were to hear the podcast, they could be very embarrassed by what I said.
Right.
And some,
Deservedly so.
and absolutely, anyone would naturally have that reaction, because it was embarrassing. It was an embarrassing thing, and I told the story, and I struggled a little bit with it before we taped. But in the moment, I made a choice. I made a decision to
Full speed ahead.
to talk about
Damn
it.
the torpedoes, full speed
To
ahead.
talk about it, because I think that was just the part of me that wanted to truly tell the rest of the story. Life is full of surprises. It'll throw you a curveball. That was the whole point of the experience to me, not really specifically what I was saying about this person. Anyway, that's the setup. What's happened recently, and this is something I've never quite experienced with our fans before, is that some fans were very upset
Yes.
by my taking that action.
They felt that it was unfair to the person
Unfair.
about whom you divulged this private information.
a violation of, I think, a sort of
Trust.
Yes, trust. And so I wanted to bring it up because there were some, like I said, some fans of ours on our Facebook page were discussing it. And I've read all those things, and I've been thinking a lot about all those things.
It caused quite a kerfuffle.
There was a little bit of a kerfuffle, but that's because we've all talked about this. Like, none of us sitting up here likes confrontation. Some people do. I mean, most people don't. But some people can get into it.
Disagree.
I step back from it as much as I can, and in this case, I've read everything, and I don't want to step back from it. I just kind of wanted to take it in. I appreciate our fans expressing their opinion. I completely am grateful to actually. I knew that was the risk I was going to take.
Does this feel like a press conference then?
It does.
Does it a little bit?
Non-apology apology. I
Well, I do,
apologize
and
if
I-
anybody was offended by what I said.
No. I'm not
My
saying. I'm not
intent
saying it.
was-
I'm
Yeah.
certainly. I would never phrase it that way. If you were offended, I know people were offended. I know that I did something that pissed some people off, and they thought that was the wrong thing to do. And I'm absolutely been taking that in. And I just wanted to say I appreciate the podcast art form. We're at a festival. It's pretty much celebrating. It's a different way of communicating. It's a different way of sharing personal things about you. And if anything, what I've been thinking about recently is that I may have really in that moment, I just did not think about how a podcast goes out to
You thought of it as
lot of
us
other
just having a
people.
conversation,
because that's
as opposed
what,
to talking into microphones with a bunch of people watching and
because
listening.
that's
and-
ultimately what we do is we just have a conversation
Correct.
with each other. And to that point, Sean, you brought this up earlier if you want to mention it, but
I don't
the
know what
fact-
this is going to be. I
No,
hope
no,
you're
no.
not throwing me under the bus,
no,
Joe. Go ahead.
No, it's the fact
Is
that
this about you making the wrong turn when we got off the highway?
no, but did you notice how quick I caught that? And
yeah,
then I,
yeah. Didn't make up for the fact that you still fucked up.
Hey, you know what? I'm only human. I just wanted to say that some people, if you're a listener and you think that the way we do the show, we vet what any one of us is going to say. We don't do it
We
like that.
absolutely do not do that.
We don't do it like that. We just let ourselves either walk into the fire or not. And in this case, I think I did in a way. And I just don't, I appreciate that I trust these guys enough to be able to talk about that. But as far as those repercussions, I just wanted any listener to know that I've been thinking about that and how I regret it. I regret it.
You regret having talked about that stuff.
Yeah, I regret it. I think you know what? I played a certain risk that a person will not ultimately hear something. But in the social media world, I don't know if that's ever not going to happen, you know. So
And what happens if this person does hear this?
they would be mortified.
Mm-hmm.
They would be mortified because it was just something. It was something biological. It was something about the body.
All right.
I'm just
Don't-
saying.
don't- come on.
There
goes discretion out the window.
I just looked out and I saw some people starting to look off into space like, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. So I just wanted to, that's just a detail.
But you regret having discussed that openly on the show for
Yes.
fear that the person you were discussing will eventually hear it, even though none of us have any idea who this person is.
It is still a completely anonymous person.
Right.
So,
But they could hear it and be upset that you
Right.
had this reaction.
Right. So anyway.
But maybe they'll take care of their issue, their biological issue.
All right, Jamie,
Okay.
please.
You know what? Yes. Things can pass.
And
But
to go back,
now sounds like she was constipated. That
to
wasn't
go back
it.
to what you were saying, just because I want to make this clear, you wanted to talk about this, and that's how our show works. Like, there's
Right.
no. I mean, yes, I sometimes tell Jamie to stop talking about snacks, but
I can't help myself.
there's no vetting
Too
of
angry
people's
one.
stuff. There's no vetting of like, no, you can't talk about that on the show. So it's not like
Right.
we get together beforehand and go, all right, let's take a vote on what everybody's story is going to be.
Right.
So to say this was a bad decision by all of us, that's just not
Right.
the
You
case.
guys weren't even involved in that. That was me in the
I
moment.
mean, I was joking with Joe before, saying like, what if? Imagine if I said to him, "No, you're not allowed to talk about that." Like,
and now I wish you had.
Right.
But yeah, no, I think it's just been I would say, to put a bow on it, I think it's very interesting that with podcasting and social media, I think we're all in some way learning what boundaries are, like redefining some boundaries, and I feel like
As humans.
yeah, I feel like I stepped over a little bit in terms of a privacy thing again.
you went too far.
I think that's how I'm feeling right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's been great for me to. I think anything that makes you rethink, you know, sometimes it just lets you reset and think about those things. Because I was saying to you guys on the road trip up, over the years,
Yeah, I was like, Jesus, I hope we get to the silent part soon.
this is quiet me. No, I was telling we all have comedy friends, comedians, who we've seen on stage do a bit, and every now and then you go, oh, I know who they're talking about there, you know, or like you know, but it's still an anonymous. It's like it's used obviously for comedy. In this case, I just wanted to tell the story, but I just thought I kept it anonymous enough, and I hope I did.
Also, you set
but
it up.
that was not the issue. Was whether the person was anonymous or not. It was like, should this information even
Should it even be? Yeah,
released?
said.
Yeah.
And I'm not the kind of when I've seen comedians do that, I always cringe a little bit because I go, of course you immediately go, oh, am I going to be a part of somebody's act? a lot of times if you go out start going out with a comedian, you go, hey, are you going to talk about me on stage?
Yeah, but how can you not do that?
Well, which is part of like, I think again in telling stories about life, I set up this story. What the episode I'm talking about was part 2. Like I really set it up, and there was a part of me that felt like if I don't talk about part 2, it's just going to seem.
Yeah, I don't agree with
anticlimactic.
that, though, because I feel like there would not have been a lot of people listening to the show who would have been like, what the fuck?
Right, but
What happened?
No, I know, but I'm thinking more about if I were listening to the podcast, I would have wanted to hear.
But you would have
the rest
already
of the
known.
story. But in
Who's
another
your story?
in another universe.
Oh, okay.
In another universe.
In Jamie's world?
In Jamie's world.
One of the worlds
enchantment.
Jamie's created?
So anyway.
No,
just
and I
wanted to
guess
get that
one
out.
other point on that is that it is your story. Like, it is an experience that you had. And I'm not saying you should have talked about it, but for people to
Right.
say you can't talk about that, I don't agree with that because it's an experience that you had, and that's all we have.
Right. And I honestly, for anyone who heard the episode, I honestly was trying to talk about it in a way that did not.
All right. Well, you failed in that.
No, I didn't.
You failed.
I was really consciously trying to talk about it in a way that would not hurt somebody, but I realized that was me
That was a-
rationalizing in the
That
moment.
was a failure.
Who here in the room has heard that episode?
All right. Well,
A
We'll
few
talk
people
later
here
for the
have
people in the
Yes.
dark.
after hours.
Yeah,
Done.
I don't. I know. This is just good promo. This
We're
is good
teasing it,
marketing.
yeah.
More people are going to listen to this now.
We're all about the ratings in podcasting.
Right.
For the last episode.
tune in last time. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I think that you pride yourself on the fact that you really didn't do it in the spirit of making fun of her or
Right.
shaming her.
Right.
I think it may have been just a too much information situation.
Right.
But you weren't. You could have done it in like a. You didn't
I might have overcompensated in the other direction.
by being medically accurate.
I actually was trying to be medically accurate.
I think this is funnier if you did not.
This, by the way, great new tea, part of the tease, because I saw a couple eyebrows perk up out there. Now we're talking.
I overcompensated by being medically accurate.
Can we end my somber press conference with Amber's great line? Because I think it would be great to move on.
All
from
right,
that.
checking in. Let's go next to Jamie.
Woo!
Great to be here.
He gets a
Thank
round
you.
of applause too. No.
I'll take it.
Not for
Thank
me,
you.
but
Oh,
yeah.
I'm
sure.
walking the room.
Go ahead, Jamie.
His loss.
Go ahead.
Okay, so my life.
You can't pay attention to what's going on here because there's too many people going in and out all the time.
I know there's a lot of
If you
activity.
comment on it every time, all that's going to do is point it out more.
There was literally zombies before, like
No, that I agree with because I couldn't see it and I turned around and I was like, damn, I wish I had seen that
Right.
sooner.
Anyway, so I
You love zombies.
Fucking love them.
We talked about that on the road trip.
Yeah, the undead, my favorite.
Yeah, he loves them.
just in general or
Just go on with your checking
I don't
in.
remember talking about that.
I think we did- no.
Was I not listening?
Joe was making that up.
No, and then you didn't like
We're
vampires.
just making up fake shit
didn't
about
like-
what we
no,
talked
but
about.
you didn't like-
Oh, remember when we went through the whole periodic table of the elements and how great some of the neon, the gases are?
I thought you said you liked zombies and you weren't so into vampires.
That did not happen.
Oh my god!
it's very specific.
During those silent parts, Joe was just making up conversations in his
Was
head.
he muttering?
I was in a whole other car.
No, remember when you said you like potatoes but you hate
All right,
tomatoes?
I'm sorry.
So go ahead, Jamie.
So on Tuesday,
Wednesday.
Thursday, Friday, so on the last episode I announced that I'm the biggest project of my life is happening. Thank you.
That should get a huge round of applause. There we go.
Thank you.
Wow.
Standing ovation.
That-
The classic one-man standing.
I know. Thank you so much.
You got business
That's like the
cards.
tomb of the unknown soldier,
All right. Well, so I'm opening a new comedy arts venue in Los Angeles. And so I announced it to the world on the last episode. And then this last Tuesday, we launched a Kickstarter as a way of promoting it. And it's a membership drive it's a whole concept for a membership-driven comedy arts music theater. And
You're saying a lot of words I'm not quite following.
seasonal membership, this whole thing. And so it was this putting it out to the world in a huge way.
Right.
And it's like a scary, crazy thing. This thing that's been a secret. Listen to this podcast that
For a long time. How long?
I mean, a year really. And so now the world knows, and it was like, I don't know if people understand how much work goes into just a Kickstarter. It seems like, you just throw some stuff up, but figuring out those rewards. We were up till 4 a.m. Getting the video edited and getting it just perfect, and then putting it out to the world. And so
You were up till 4 a.m. on one night to put this whole thing together?
I was up till 8 a.m.
Whoa.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm saying if you were up till 4 a.m. to get your Kickstarter video edited before you
Maybe
put it
start
out,
the day before.
yeah, you probably should have had a better.
Oh no! I mean, this was
working
weeks. This was weeks before that night.
Weeks.
So
Hey, can I ask you what some of the rewards are? Can we plug some of the rewards? What were you coming up with?
I mean, at one point we had butler service at this place, but that's going to be at phase 2 or phase 3.
Okay.
So if you're thinking about not getting a reward, it's butler service that you
that's-
won't get.
That's the plot line of the fake sitcom on Seinfeld.
What is?
He has a butler. He something happens and he gets arrested and he has to be someone's butler.
Oh, that's right.
Car accident.
Interesting. Seinfeld
Welcome
fans
to
are gonna love this
Seinfeld
place.
recaps, folks.
So what are the things?
Elaine
though?
dances weird. Go on, Jamie.
So, so first day we got 2 amazing pieces of press in LA Weekly and the Los Angeles Magazine.
Articles,
What did I say?
pieces of press.
Pieces of press.
Yeah.
Pop. You gotta pop.
Who needs one word when you can have
3.
several?
Pieces of press.
So then on the first day we got up to like 10,000. We're asking for $100,000, which
That's a lot of dough.
that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
And so now we're like 4 days in.
Like
you were
just
surprised you were
realized.
Amazed by how much you're asking
Wow!
for. Wow!
That is so. I've never had that much money. I mean,
But
it
it's
was
like if you ask somebody for a loan and then you're like, I'm asking you for so much money.
Right. Right. Like you would
the-
think if you were going to do
what
this, you'd be
the-
like, what's a reasonable amount to ask for? What about 250? No, that's too much.
Right.
I think 100,000 is our sweet spot. But for you, it's like, holy shit, we're
Whoa!
asking for $100,000.
We'll be rich.
that. It does. I mean, well, so now we're at 20,000 as of today, which is awesome.
Oh, it's great.
But that's 20%. But then like 80,000.
80%.
Yes.
You're good.
That is so much more. And so, okay, so some rewards. We have a reward where you can get a limousine ride to a boat,
What?
and then get on the boat, spend the afternoon on the boat, and then get the limo ride back to the new theater and catch a show.
What if you just want to go to a show?
Oh, I like that.
If you just want to go to a show, there's plenty of options for
I
you
like
too.
that. But a boat trip and a show at the theater.
and a
li-
limo ride.
And I
And a
just
limo
found
ride.
out that someone I know, who was my car mate, has a plane. So we're gonna maybe sweeten this deal with a plane ride to the limo,
So
have
you
a
got
plane?
to you get a limo to the plane.
limo to the
You
plane.
fly up, you jump out of the plane, land on the boat, take the boat back to shore. The limo meets you there, takes you to the show. Boom, done.
And that's enchantment, folks. If anyone knows a
Nice.
parachute person, that could be a
Well
thing.
done.
If anybody knows a parachute person,
By the way, why don't airplanes? I don't like flying. I'm not a big fan.
Hear this?
why don't they build the plane out
Out
of
of
the
the
black
parachute.
box?
But why wouldn't everyone be equipped with a parachute? It seems like just such an easy thing. Every seat has a parachute.
Right.
If something happens, you all just
Like being on a ship and everybody has a life jacket.
great analogy.
Thank you.
Perfect analogy.
Thank you. It's like on a submarine, everybody has a snorkel.
And on a plane, everybody has their own life jacket.
And on a parachute, everyone's got a uh-oh. So the new theater that I'll be running, it's very exciting. What else can I talk about? Oh, here's the funny thing. So I'm a businessman now.
Right?
This is a new phase where I have to be a businessman.
Right.
I would be careful about the way you talk about this as if it's a crazy, weird thing.
You're absolutely
Because
right.
you're
As
asking
I'm
people
raising
to
money,
invest
yes.
in you.
I'm telling
Yes.
you, write the sketch of Jamie getting a bank loan
Wearing
and
like
sitting
an
in the-
oversized suit.
right
and,
in
like-
front of the bank officer going like, I'm a businessman now.
Jamie's like, I'm expected to keep books now and things. Like, keep track of
I
how
mean-
much I'm spending.
I'm just going to be
It's a lot.
transparent as I always am on the show, and
Right.
it might cost a couple rewards, but
Right.
I literally went into 2 banks and a credit union asking for a loan. Turns out it's really hard to get a loan if you don't have income. So that's a fun fact, and if you're
That's
looking
what
to
caused the crash of 2007.
yeah, so
By the way,
Everybody
Jamie's
getting loans
car
with nothing behind him.
Jamie's car mate laughed the hardest at that.
all right, because she's in on the business side. I do have business people, so just don't fret. There's
Right.
people that know
That
how
know what the
numbers
fuck
work,
they're doing.
and they're guiding me. But so I
You're starting to get into some Trumpian territory. I do
I
have
have the
business
best
people.
people.
Yeah, yeah. And I also feel like Jamie is the
That
captain of the ship.
around-
It's like being on a ship and the captain's going, all right, men, I know it looks bad, but there are some of you on board who know what you're doing. So just do your thing.
You know who you are. I hope you know who you are.
Step up.
I'm playing up the character I have on the long shot a
Yes.
little
You're
bit.
great. You're great.
But that's great.
But
I mean, you're
I
making it happen,
I had to hire the first 2 people.
right?
One was a graphic designer and a branding expert who's putting together all the branding for this thing.
Okay.
And then my car mate, who
Why has she suddenly become anonymous? We've mentioned her name
I
like
know.
5 times during the show.
Jessica
Because
Kelly.
Jamie's just weird. Go on, Jamie.
Jessica Kelly
He's
is in the
being
room.
discreet and medically inaccurate.
She's a comedy manager. She has a plane.
I can't believe you have a plane.
There's so many things I've learned about her.
6 hours is a long time.
She makes jewelry. She makes costumes.
This is great.
What are some other things? I don't know.
All right, Jamie, we'll keep talking about your thing.
So, and she was the other person, like, she's a paid employee that's helping me get through this Kickstarter. The next 3 weeks, there's so much work that you have to do to, like, just, it's a job.
Right.
And I need help. And so, but the negotiations between these 2 people could not be more polar opposite. The graphic designer was contracts and lawyers and really get into the nitty gritty.
Very business-y.
Very businessy.
We can't
Right.
even come up with business
I know.
specifics.
Leveraging the stock account
lines,
numbers. And then
ledger.
Jessica, we negotiated. So I'm just
Your
gonna
car mate.
my car mate.
Is that her official title?
Yes,
That's on her business card.
it is. Speaking of which, I got fucking business cards. I
Business
fucking
cards.
paid.
You don't have to pull them out.
We
This is a
believe you.
podcast.
No, I'm gonna put them
Show
out
the
here for the people in the
camera.
room. Oh, there's cameras.
Yeah, those are cameras.
So I paid $50 to have these rush ordered for this festival, which arguably was not money
So
well
if you're
spent.
donating to the Kickstarter, now you know where the money is going.
Okay. This has become a disaster for my future, which is unfortunate. Please, I mean,
I think it's a great tease. I think we're keeping the tease going.
contribute to
Tune
this.
in 2 weeks ago. When Jamie
Jamie
stays up till 4 in the morning.
So the negotiation
Fancy one?
with Jessica was it was just I wish all negotiations can be like this because I'm learning how to do this kind of stuff, and
I like the design, Jamie.
isn't it great?
It's got kind of an Art Deco thing.
Yep,
It's great,
it's playing up to the architecture of the place
right?
and the history of the place, and so I'm going to do my best. I said to her, she was like, make me an offer when you know what you can pay. So I made the offer I was like, I don't have any money right now.
What a great offer. I'll take it. I'm hired.
No, you're supposed to start low.
Yes.
So
How about if I
$0.
give you some money?
So, but at the end of this campaign, there will be some. Here's what I can do, X dollars per hour.
Mm-hmm.
She said, I'm going to sleep on it. And then she said, I'm just trying to be better about
Did she go to sleep right there in front of you?
Yes.
Because the way you just kept going, I just imagine her head going down and sleeping for like 20 minutes, and then she answered you.
That's not exactly what happened.
Right.
I didn't yes.
But
and that-
ultimately, hashtag she said yes.
well, so then she said,
Who are you?
Never used that hashtag
I
in
know.
your life.
so, and she said, I'm trying to be better about it. I got to think about this before I just jump in. There's things I want to do, and you have to take care of yourself,
Right.
and make sure you're getting what you're worth. Then she said, well, here's what I've been thinking about number-wise. And I said, let me sleep on that.
You guys are like Paradise by the Dashboard Lights.
Yes.
Like, let me sleep on it, baby,
And then-
baby, let me sleep on it.
This negotiation took a while.
Yeah.
And then I said,
There's a lot of sleeping involved.
what's the difference between what I offered and what you just said?
You didn't
You
understand.
had to get out a calculator.
No, I mean, it was like, there's a gap, and you have to figure out, like,
Oh, I
ultimately,
see.
what is that number, that difference?
Right. And then you
She
saw
said the
I
difference.
just see you guys pushing papers back and forth
and
to
going
each other
back
on
to
the
sleep,
desk.
alternatingly going to sleep.
Take a look at this.
That's pretty funny. This would be great for one of those animated podcast things where they have, like, animate the things that are happening.
Hey, somebody out there, animate this.
Yeah, go ahead.
I
What else?
animate this, find a parachute.
So what
person.
happened? So
Okay.
you met in the middle, I'm guessing.
So then I was like, how about we meet in the middle of that and neither of us sleep on it? And then we just
And
laugh.
then we were awake
Oh, yeah.
for 7 days.
And then she's like, deal. And it was just like, we just laughed, and it was so joyful, and it was like, we just did a business deal.
I've
And
never heard of a job negotiation that involved you can't sleep. Don't sleep. But it worked.
it worked, and
And everyone's happy.
I'm slave driving her. Didn't mean to bring slavery into this. This is please donate to my campaign.
Oh
This
my
is for the
God.
future of comedy. It's going to be good for everyone, I promise. No slaves.
Please don't
I give the
anyone
no
sleep
slave-
on that.
Guarantee.
No slaves.
Hashtag
Oh
join
my
the
God.
dynasty.
Jamie.
Don't sleep on that.
All right. Well, congratulations on
Thank
your
you
new
very
much.
venture.
Congratulations.
I hope it
Thank you.
goes well. It will be good for everybody if it does, and we'll see what happens.
Thank you.
But let me sleep on it.
Let
All
me
right.
sleep on it.
All right, we're tied up at the bottom of the ninth. Man on third. Remember that whole Phil Rizzuto thing? All right, Amber,
Hey, everybody.
checking in.
Hi, Amber.
Yes, Amber Kenny.
Give it up. Give it up.
Oh, sit down, please.
A bright light.
Yeah, she didn't get a one-man standing ovation.
You don't sound
I
too
didn't.
late.
Thank you.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh, nice. Took
A
a knee.
kneeling ovation.
man.
Very woke. Very
Very-
woke.
Very Game of
reverent.
Thrones.
I like that.
I last week was in Moab, Utah.
Nice.
End of checking in. No, I'm just kidding.
Very cool.
Sick. I went on my first Wattenhofer family vacation.
Huddle-ditter.
It's it's gonna be okay. Everything's fine.
There's a listener who's so connected that he just took a deep breath about Amber's family trip with the boyfriend.
So you went
I
on
love
a
it.
trip
I love
with
it.
with your boyfriend's family
Correct.
Right.
So
for the
it-
first time,
for the
which
first
is
time.
very fraught.
yeah, you get to see family dynamics in action
Mm-hmm.
up close, and it's always interesting not being a direct member of the family because you maybe see things they don't because it just becomes
Right.
the air they breathe. It also pointed out things about my family because you just think that's how people are until you see something else and you're like, oh,
Right.
we do things differently.
We do things the right way.
No. So
Your relatives are walking out. Oh, they're taking a picture.
yeah, I have family here.
Yeah.
Shout out to Uncle Jim, Aunt Shirley.
Thank you for
Thanks for coming here from
coming.
Tucson. They're the best. So on this trip, little things like, okay, this is all the players involved. It's Jeff's, both of his parents, both of his sisters. It's gonna be okay. I don't know. Like, I'm stressed. His nephew, who's 10, and then his sister's boyfriend.
Sure.
And how many car mates for each of those people?
Oh man, we were all each other's car mates. One big car mate.
Right.
We had a minivan, so all of us except one of his sisters and her boyfriend came down separately later.
Right.
So we were all in a minivan, and we landed in Salt Lake City and drove from Salt Lake City to Moab, which is 4 hours, in a minivan. Like, so it was a family vacation, like so hardcore. And when we got to Moab, the first day we were walking around, I also was just hungry, and I'd be like, hey, maybe we should eat, and everyone's like, okay, like, so we'll walk around for an hour more, and I was like, I'm like the least squeaky wheel.
Right.
So we land in Moab, we're walking around, I'm starving, and they find one of those storefronts that's just like a tourist trap of all the tours you can buy in the tourist city. And they sit there
in Moab?
In Moab.
So it's like you can see this rock, or this rock.
Well, you could go on like a zip lining tour or a dirt bike or rent ATVs or jet ski or I don't know what I'm talking about. But
very cool.
So they proceeded to go into this storefront and read all of these brochures.
Trying to decide what they wanted to do.
And it blew my mind because my parents would have picked out what we were going to do
weeks
3
ahead.
months earlier.
Yeah. Right.
So your parents do it the right way.
No, but it was it just was like, we're here. We're supposed to be doing vacation stuff, not deciding stuff.
Right.
But some of those brochures, I mean, the photography is so dynamite. Some of the copy it can tell a story. Evocative. That brochure in and of itself is its own little mini vacation.
On this.
So, shout out to brochures.
Indeed.
Hey, has any other podcast given a shout out to brochures yet? Aaron? No? Okay.
We're the hippest podcast in town.
Hey, today. Flyers, we love you.
Hey, pamphlets, fuck you.
Keep doing what you do.
And by the way, I'm talking about a trifold brochures.
All right, you're in the marketing game.
Glossy,
so you're looking at these brochures.
Yeah, and we decide on zipline tour. The mom didn't want to go, definitely, adamant. So we were trying to think of something everyone wanted to do. But that wasn't going to happen. And finally, Jeff's sister took me to a side because I was like, no, let's make everyone happy. I like making everyone happy. Mm-hmm. Kind of a problem I have. But his sister took me aside and was like, Mom doesn't want to go. Mom wants to have 4 hours without all of us around. Like, this is what she wants. She wants to have us go and her not go. And I was like, okay, good. As long as we're not leaving someone out. We went on the zipline tour. It was my first time ziplining. And
is it like flying? You go really fast?
Not necessarily. You could adjust.
Oh, okay.
Like how far your body is away from the zip line determines how.
Did anybody not get all the way up to the next thing?
Trent, the 10-year-old, like they kept telling him, like, Trent, buddy, be a cannonball, because we don't want to go
so
get
light.
you.
Yeah. He's 10 years old, so he's not heavy enough to swing all the way up to the next point.
But Nate. So one of the tour guides was this guy Nate, and I was obsessed with him because he. We found out later that he normally just answers the phone at the zipline tour place, and
so he didn't know what he was doing.
No, this wasn't the first time they're letting him go out on a tour, but he was just like a golden retriever, like so excited to be there. And
was he like the whole time like, Moab ziplines? How can I help you?
Yeah. And like the other guy, the other tour guide Scott, he has done it a lot. But Nate was laughing too hard at all of Scott's jokes that you could tell that he just says all day long. And Nate was like, oh, man, yes! And my favorite moment, he was just very, like, shaka bro. At one point, Jeff was like, oh, Nate told me that he's hung out in Riverside, California. And I was like, yeah, of course he has. Look at it. Yes, he's from where I'm from. Like, shaka. Like, I don't want to explain it. Like,
It's like bro stuff.
hang loose.
Is that is that like
Comes from a
via
surfer.
con Dios?
Oh, got it.
Yeah. But I was getting into my apparatus on one of the zips, and he's like, "Hey, you Jeff's old lady?"
How old is this kid?
He's like, maybe my age.
Right.
And I was like, "Yeah," and his reaction was, "That's what's up." And I was like, tears. I was like, "I love you, Nate. Where are you hanging later? Let's go drinking." But like, you never hear the phrase "old lady" anymore.
Unless you're in a motorcycle gang.
Right.
Right. Exactly.
So he was wonderful, and I loved him.
And then-
Standing ovation for Nate.
And then how was the mom's reaction when you got back from ziplining? Was she like crying by herself? Like, why
No,
did you guys leave
she was
me?
like, "I made dinner.
But what's for dinner?
Teriyaki chicken." and some
Jamie,
steak."
always asking the hard questions.
Now,
I-
when you say teriyaki, do you mean teriyaki? Because a lot of people don't know that traditional teriyaki is much different than what it's become here in the States.
I don't think I mean traditional.
Okay.
Well, that
Murray
settles that.
Valeriano.
The next day we went hiking in Canyonlands, and we went to see this old ancient pueblo where they store like an ancient food pantry that was carved in the side of
Like the
a
pyramids.
mountain. I thought just like it. And it was cool, and the whole family was there. And then we didn't know if it was a round trip trail or if you had to turn around and go back. And I was like, "I think it's round trip," but it was just like the side of a mountain. And I was like, "I could do it." And like, I climbed rocks a lot as a kid, so I was feeling real proud of myself. And I was just on this rock. My ankle goes. I fall on both my knees.
Oof.
And
Oof.
and I like slide a little bit. I could have slid off the entire mountain. And Jeff's
Nate just pops up and catches you.
I wish.
Hey,
Oh
don't
my
die,
God.
dude.
That's what's up. So Jeff's 10-year-old nephew's just like running around, and I find a safe spot, and I sit down and I cry for literally 10 seconds. Like, I just was like, "Okay, let's get off this mountain." Because I wanted to leave before my knees were swole, and I couldn't do it. I just needed to be freaked out for a second because it was just so scary. And his mom was so concerned about safety. Like, she didn't like anyone even being close to the edge of cliffs.
Nobody likes people being
No.
close to the edge of cliffs.
Except for the wily, the Roadrunner. Right, when it comes to this
That's what's up.
Yeah, that's what's up.
The Roadrunner is also wily.
But I just kept thinking, if
I've
I
always thought that.
seriously injure myself on this trip, his mom will hate me forever.
She will blame you
Yeah.
for fucking up the whole trip.
Yeah.
And Amber, as you were telling the story, there wasn't nobody saw that, or like.
No, Jeff saw it.
Oh, Jeff saw it. Oh, okay. But at least it was.
It wasn't.
Jeff,
It wasn't the grown-ups.
Because that's the thing. Sometimes when, like, this is one of those things that happens when you fall, depending on whether anyone sees it or not. Like you said, like, you just had the moment of like, I just have to suddenly cry this out that I was scared. But when other people are around, they're like, "Are you okay? Are you
You're like,
okay?" And
"Yeah,
then
fine."
everyone immediately like, "I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm
Well,
fine."
and then Jeff was like, "Hey, are you all right?" And I was
Right.
like, "Yeah, I just need to not be hysterically sobbing when I see
Right.
your parents again."
Right.
And
Do you think it's possible that she would have blamed herself if you had hurt yourself on
yeah,
the trip?
no, she's wonderful. That's just my weird.
Mm-hmm.
But my knees are pretty banged up. That's why I keep wearing pants. They're really
I was wondering about that. I was like, why is Amber wearing pants?
what a weirdo.
Yeah.
Do you want
She
to? We
usually
have
wear
cameras.
pants.
Do you want to show your knees
Well,
to the cameras?
no, I don't.
I like how you guys
you
are
don't.
pointing in different directions. Like, we have cameras here, so if you want to just show your
These
knees
are
to
right. This is just the Jamie cam? It's like right
It
at
might
me.
be a wider angle. It might
It
get all
probably
of
is.
us.
Who's watching this, by the way? What is this?
Keep asking questions that have no answers.
Who are you? Where are
Go
you?
on,
If
Amber.
you're
So what else
watching
happened
this,
on the
let
trip?
us
Lane
know
Ford.
in some way.
We're being held hostage.
But like, I had to ice my knees that night and stuff, and then a bunch of family drama went down, and I'm just sitting there with ice on my knees, like ooh. It was
Yeah.
good times for everyone. But
I
it was
went on
wonderful.
I went on a trip once with a girlfriend and her family.
Hello.
Yeah. Oh, I know, man. It was intense. But
We
Were
are
you
still so
camping?
immature
That's
that
That's
as a
good.
podcast, anytime we mention any relationship we've had, I'm like, whoa,
Did you hear my
smoochy,
dad joke?
smooch.
but we.
Did you hear my
No,
dad
I
joke?
missed it. What
You
was
said
it?
it was intense, and I said, "Were you camping?"
I heard it.
No, we were in Colorado, Telluride, Colorado, and the dad convinced me that I should try snowboarding. He was like, "You'll love it. You just got to get the hang of it." And I know how to ski, but I didn't know how to snowboard. He's like, "It's great. You're gonna learn. You're gonna love it. It's great." So I went. I rented a snowboard. I got on the hill. Immediately snapped my elbow backwards. Broke my elbow, and so I went to they had to like bring me down the mountain and go to the first aid tent. So I was in tents.
Okay.
And
So I was right.
and
Isn't the universe cool that does that sometimes?
and I was in a
universe is cool.
sling, and then but it was the opposite. It was like the mother was cutting my meat for me because I couldn't use my hands. Then I was on painkillers, and we went out to a bar that night, and my girlfriend said to a guy who was hitting on her, she was like, "My boyfriend is right here, and he will kick your fucking ass."
Oh, yeah.
And I was stoned out of my mind and with a broken arm. So it was not good. But I guess I'm just saying, like, it's not necessarily that they're going to blame you for it. It could
Right.
be the opposite. You could have
Right,
gotten a
right,
lot
right.
of sympathy out of that.
I just didn't want. It was
No,
the
you don't
last
want to be
day
the
of the
person
trip. Like, I
causing
just-
trouble. Yeah.
I went to Palm Springs with my girlfriend,
Hello.
and I was fucking,
Great. Congratulations.
and her mom walks in, and one thing leads to another, and
What?
just kidding.
Not medically accurate.
Not medically accurate. I
I
put
love
it-
when Jamie's yes ands just go horribly awry.
Well, it just turned into a hardcore threesome.
Yeah. With a mother and a daughter.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, my Lord. Hey, do any of the
It's a fictional world that I created.
I have a question, Jamie. Do any of the rewards for the Kickstarter include, like, time spent with you?
I think there was one, the out of town package for Longshot fans.
Right.
Where maybe there's a Skype conversation with me.
Because I'm telling you,
What a
I know.
reward.
No, but that's the thing. I am
I
truly
will
thinking
give
about.
you $5,000 to have a Skype conversation.
I will take that.
I know that there are people
Right
out
now.
there listening right now or have listened to the show who would want to spend time with you, like to shadow
lots
you.
of-
To
Lots
see
of
if you're
people-
really the way you seem
Lots
to
I
be.
think that would
want
be
to
a-
hang out with.
I think it'd be disappointing.
No, but like in a stalker
or the opposite
way.
of that.
Obsessively.
So I put a Q-tip in my ear. You guys are missing a great story. I put a Q-tip in my ear. When we get to Palm Springs and their place, it's like her whole family and her sister and her sister's husband and her parents.
And one thing leads to another.
And one thing
The
leads to
triple
another.
generation orgies.
That's your universe.
No, it's not.
No, it wasn't an orgy. It was me pushing my earwax
Keep
deep
going.
into my
I like
ear.
Oh, and it plugged up your ear.
And so that was my kind of snapping my elbow or falling and
Very
hurting my knees
similar.
was like I couldn't hear
Right.
for the entire weekend. I was just at the table like just deaf in one ear. And that's really sad.
Smiling and nodding.
Yeah. I was the boyfriend who just had a Q-tip accident. Dude, it was
Yes. That deserved a paltry single clap.
it actually happened again in
Zach
my
gave it a
life
clap.
in New York City.
Oh.
I was in Harlem where you lived at one point.
Nope.
Nope.
I lived in New York City. I didn't live in Harlem. I
Mm.
worked in Harlem.
You talk
Well, I knew
about-
there was a Harlem.
Right.
Same deal, like a Q-tip accident, and you get.
So
this-
you didn't learn your lesson the first time.
I do not use Q-tips exclusively now.
Wait, what else do you use?
I use. I just take this. Here's a little tip, a little long shop tip. You take a one
Paper
square. Paper clips definitely don't work. Do not fuck with paper clips.
Right.
Okay.
They will puncture. They will bleed. You will not hear in different ways than just the Q-tip. We do not use paper clips. We use them to clip
Okay,
paper.
okay,
All right.
okay. What else?
You take one square of toilet paper, tear it in half, diddly-lip, the skippy-dibby-dip,
Wait.
Okay.
By the way, folks, if you didn't catch that at home, it was dibble-dibble-dip, scooby-dibby-dip.
It
all you
gets
have
it
to do
out.
with the toilet paper.
I have all my hearing, and all is good in the world.
What if you just don't clean out your ears?
You got a waxy situation.
Mm.
Do you not clean your ears? I'm not blessed
I
like you.
like how Jamie immediately starts peering into Amber's ear.
Right.
And they're wax free from what I can tell.
All right. Well, it seems like we've come to a part of the show called parting shots.
Oh.
So let's do that.
I think you should start.
Sure, I'll start parting shots. Here's my parting shot. Thank you, Zach.
Oh, wow.
Yes, thank you.
you.
I did 2 shows last night at the Tempe Improv.
Hello.
Which was great. Super fun. It's a great club. There's lots and lots of people at both shows. First show, I would say, was 500 people, maybe 400, maybe
Holy
300, maybe
mogollon.
20.
That's a real
And,
comedy. That's a real comedy club.
Yeah, it's a big space with lots of people in it. Both shows were very crowded. And it was super fun, but it also made me realize I want to be a better comic because it's a club and people have certain expectations when they come to a club, which is the way the show is supposed to go. And I'm so used to doing the rooms that I do, which are more sort of alternative spaces.
Right.
And you get a little bit more room to stretch out and not worry so much about when's the next joke, when's the next joke, when's the next joke. And that's what they wanted last night. And they also didn't really want to, which I don't blame them for, they didn't really want to do a lot of work of making connections. And some of my jokes, you have to like go, oh, I see what he's, that's the kind of joke I go for. It's not a laugh, but more of like, oh, I see.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, that's
Right.
I see what he's doing there.
Let me sleep on it. And then,
But it really, there were a couple jokes, and there was one joke in the first show that just didn't work at all. And I was like, okay, that joke always works and didn't work, and I get why it didn't work.
Right.
And then in the second show, there was a joke I wanted to do, and I said to somebody before I went on, I was like, I'm going to do this joke because I want to do it, but I know it's not going to work for this audience. And I went on and I did it, and it didn't work for that audience. But
see, I told you.
that's what I said when I came off stage. I was like, haha, I win again. But what was also nice about it was I came off stage after the first show, and I didn't feel badly about how I did. I did fine. You know, the set was fine, but there was something in the back of my mind was like, because everybody else there on the show was a real club comic, and there was a part of me that was like, am I, you know, I don't know how to say it, but like, I'm not as strong as some of these people in this particular situation, whatever. So I'm sitting there, I'm at the bar by myself, which is the title of my autobiography. I'm at the bar by myself. And
Sean Conroy walks into a bar.
one of the waiters comes up to me and just goes, "Hey man, that was so fucking funny," and like shakes my hand.
Oh, that's so kind.
And I was like, "That's so," because from a waiter who's in the room all
Who
the
sees
time,
so much
who
comedy.
sees so much, it
Right.
was very like, I was like, "Oh, thanks." Like it really
It meant a lot.
was very meaningful to me. So sometimes the universe smiles on you, and you should all smile back.
Did you smile back at him?
No, I was like, "Sir, I'm by myself right
You're
now.
like, don't-
Please
don't look at
Don't
Please
me."
talk
don't
to me."
interrupt me." Yeah. No, it was nice. It was very nice of him. All right, parting shots. Let's go next to Joe.
Okay, I think my parting shot is going to be about the fact that this is a discussion that we have been having since we've been here in some form or another, which is there have been a couple times when I know Amber and I have looked at each other while we've been here, and we're like, why are we here? I mean, specifically at this festival. And it's gotten me thinking about how
Carl Sagan used to go on and on about that. Like, why are we here?
right, the heavy questions.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what do
big
you mean,
questions.
Joe?
No, the idea that, I guess, you know what it is? I think it's that for us, the podcast has been such a thing that we kind of just do for ourselves.
It's very insulated from the real
it's
world.
just us meeting at Sean's every Sunday morning to record us talking to each other. And then like, oh, that's right. We're a part of a podcast network, and there are other shows and that we know some of these people. And I want to thank the festival. I think it's been
great.
A lot of fun, super fun. And but I just wanted to remind us that I feel like
You wanted to remind us of this.
I wanted to remind us that every now and then when we have that instinct to be like, what are we doing here? It's like, well, we're here, so we're meant to be here. I think we
deserve this.
We all love to undercut ourselves, and I think that
that's what our show's all about.
I am happy and proud to be a part of this podcast. I was invited, that's a part of that network, and I'm invited to be a part of this festival, and it's been really fun. It's my first trip with the guys, and anyways,
That's what's up.
yeah, that's what's
That's
up.
what's up.
That's what's up. I'm feeling very grateful and positive, and it's been a lot of fun.
Joe Wagner, everybody. Joe Wagner's parting shot. You heard it here first on the long shot. Amber, parting shots.
A week from today, November 4th, will be the second Liquid Feet dance class.
Whoa.
Whoa! Jessica, you're...
Jamie's car mate may be there.
Yeah, she was at the last one.
I know.
Oh, cool.
And so...
So what does that entail, the Liquid Feet dance class?
We teach a warm-up, we do some across the floor, and then we teach a Liquid Feet original routine to our friends that we make pay.
How much does it cost?
$10.
To what kind of music?
That's always a fun surprise. Last time we did a Kesha song. This time it will be something different.
Right.
So if I
different
went
Kesha
home and
song.
studied all the Kesha songs, it would not be worth it.
not
Because
a
it
one.
won't be a Kesha
I
song.
think Amber looked at us after saying Ketchup like we were going to be
Like,
like,
oh!
whoa!
Now,
You're
which
talking
one's
about Kesha
Kesha?
with the dollar sign in her name? Okay.
But no longer.
She got rid of the dollar sign?
Yeah.
Why?
Because
It's a long
capitalism
story.
is a
Yeah,
prism.
capitalism covers it.
Oh, yeah, it is.
So go to Amber's dance class.
This will come out after this.
Will it or won't it?
But you'll be talking about the people that come out and how much fun it was.
I think it won't.
Yeah.
I think it'll come out before.
Oh, cool. So
I think.
November 4th. Right. That's what I. That's
Oh,
what
yeah.
Oh,
I,
yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
Yeah.
This became
Oh, that would
an
have. If I had known
opportunity.
that, that would have changed the whole complexion
Boy,
of
are
the
we
show.
a professional.
Yeah.
So yeah, November 4th, Liquid Feet, and then we have another show at UCB. I forget the date. Just lots of Liquid Feet coming up.
Uh-huh.
We're working on.
So go to liquidfeet.
No.
No website.
I think we have one.
Oh, okay.
I'm really good at this.
Great.
We're working
Self-promotion.
on a Christmas ballet. I'm very excited.
I have
Nice.
a place where I'd love for you to perform it. Is that stage not rent for a ballet?
Oh, I have to make some calls after
that's
this.
What
Great
if
idea.
Liquid
This
Feet
changes
became the new
everything.
Nutcracker?
I don't see why not.
I don't see why not either.
I don't either. All right, Jamie, parting shots.
Okay, well, I'll start with, I also have like, I said something on the last show that's created quite a stir, not
Oh.
quite as much. I mentioned on the last show that I'd spent
Oh yes,
a
I've been
significant amount of
thinking about
money
this, like,
on a
since-
big league chew.
Yeah.
$1,000,
I
I
said
believe.
Big league.
At one
cheer.
point,
And that I am not in a financial position.
$1,000 buying bubble gum known as Big League
Yes.
Chew.
You are asking people to invest money in you, and you invest your money in Big League Chew.
It's got brilliant branding.
What?
Brilliant branding.
You like
It's
the way
it's
the
like you
pack-
feel like you're a ball player, and
You
especially in the
also
World Series.
don't like Big League Chew, right?
It was a world I created that just went over everyone's head. I created a universe where I would pay $1,000 for Big League Chew.
So you didn't actually do that, is that correct?
I did not pay $1,000 for Big League Chew. You heard it here
What
first.
is wrong with you?
I thought you did.
I know many
Amber
people did.
literally brought that up in the car on the way down here.
Where I was like, is he okay?
Yeah, she was like, why did Jamie spend $1,000 on Big League Chew?
And I'm saying
Couldn't
right
you have just
now,
done a Kickstarter for $99,000 without the Big League Chew?
yes. Anyway, Big League Chew. I did as a kid. It was
So you don't have $1,000 worth of Big League Chew.
no.
You're telling the listeners that you made something up.
This changes everything. I
Yeah.
don't know what it is up and what is down.
The Big League Chew thing was.
I don't
it was,
know.
Jamie, is there a theater?
There's a theater, and I'm going to use this opportunity right now to, if you're watching this live right now, a heartfelt plea. I have a dream to change.
Stolen
You
speech.
just appropriated
Yes.
a giant civil. All right, go ahead.
Oh, right.
Now tell him you don't have a dream.
You know what? I have a dream to enchant the world, to bring people together through comedy and arts. I'm being very earnest right now.
Are you?
Yes.
Or is this like the Big League Chew thing?
This is the Big League Chew thing might end up fucking me because this is real. If you go
Boy,
online,
you cried Big League Chew.
It's such a weird specific.
It's a classic Flam thing where he was joking, but nobody understood that he was joking.
When I
so
actually-
we all took it seriously.
you called me out for not committing, and I was so committed.
But I don't get how that was
the
funny.
the rest of the day were you like?
Like, even in retrospect, I'm like, that's not funny.
No,
I wasn't
no,
going for
but,
funny.
like-
I was going for
You were just doing an
moment.
acting
Ja-
exercise?
yes.
Jamie, like later on in the day, were you like, they bought it, they bought it?
No, not until I saw many posts and
Right.
emails about like what's up with Jamie and the Big League Chew.
Right.
I was thinking about it.
Meanwhile, I was like, of course fucking Jamie has $1,000 worth of
Yeah,
Big League Chew.
Sean accepted it
Yeah,
immediately.
Do you know how much
100%.
Big League Chew that is?
I assumed that it was very valuable by the packet. So maybe you
Yeah.
had 3 that each cost $333 and 33 1/3 cents.
No.
I thought that you had bought like a pallet of them.
Yeah,
for
I
like
pictured
a
a
bit or
palette.
something.
I
Yeah.
pictured a palette.
But back to contributing to
I
my
actually,
dream.
wait, just to keep going with this, I actually justified it in the car.
Yeah, he was like, no, it's good.
Yeah,
it's a good idea.
I was like, that's just Jamie. Like, he thinks that kind of shit is funny. Like, having a bunch of Big League Chew is funny to him.
Thank
I
you,
like
Sean.
made it make sense.
It's whimsical. That's whimsical.
Yeah,
It is pretty whimsical.
it's enchantment. That's enchantment.
Yeah, hey.
Yeah, why not? So, okay, speaking of enchantment, so if all of the fans of the Long Shot contributed $100, and I want to say this, we have a Patreon coming, and I do not want to take any money out of that for this podcast. But right now,
Too late.
But right now, let's make this about me and my dream, which will make a beautiful place for this podcast for Liquid Feet's Nutcracker Suite.
Rising tide lifts all
If
boats.
everyone went on, and all our Long Shot fans, and gave, let's say, just say $100, you can give more or less, whatever you have. Help us make a place in LA for podcasting, for amazing shows, and a place where we can have a hub where enchantment for the world can exist.
What do people get for $100?
The out of town package, you get the Scribe pack.
Big League Chew.
You get an amazing Dynasty typewriter notebook, pencil, your pen, and maybe a T-shirt. I'll tell you what. For next 5 that come in, we'll throw in a T-shirt.
$100 for a pencil?
Oh, and
But
and
then
we'll
you're a
live
member
stream.
of the theater.
Oh,
And we'll live stream at least 2 shows for you if you're out of town. And I will get you tickets if you do come to LA. Go to dynastytypewriter.com for all the information.
I'm sorry. I was still thinking of you going, invest in my dream. I'll sell you this pencil for $100.
Look,
and there's just
This
there's
sounds
just-
like the beginning of a fable or
there's
something.
just elderly
right?
people at home who are like, all right, $100 for a pencil. It's like those fucking Fox News commercials where they're like, you need to
All
invest
right.
in an upside down
oh,
mortgage.
wait. And finally, is there anyone in this room
Oh, God.
Yes, there are people in the room.
that would like to
Thank
come
you.
up here and share a nugget of wisdom?
Jesus, Jamie.
Come on up.
Get over
Zach,
here.
quick, Zach, quick.
Some sort of guiding principle in your life that helps you get
Yeah.
by day to day.
If you're a new listener, this is a tradition of the show where Jamie asks our guests if they have.
Jamie puts the responsibility for a parting shot on somebody who's here as a guest so that he doesn't have to do it. Now, this time he did have stuff to
I
say.
did too.
But
Right.
Zach is here to give us a parting.
I will be 100% honest. I was sitting there, I was like, oh, Jamie's going to come. He doesn't have anybody to ask a question to. So I was like, maybe he'll ask the audience.
This is a dream come true.
Dream come true.
Right.
It's just an honor for us to be able to provide this moment for you.
Thank you. It is an honor. So my thing would be,
But wait, first you have to tell us who you are and what you're doing
I'm
here.
Zach Race, also from Tucson. I don't know Amber's family, but we're from the same place.
Yeah.
Hi.
Now you guys will pass each other on the street and pretend you don't know
Yeah,
each
yeah,
other.
no.
Like, we had a terrible
This
time
is
together.
it. I don't want
once.
to see you again.
Yeah. But Zach, you are
Okay.
somebody who has listened to the podcast before.
Oh yeah, for a long, long time.
We're heading north.
Oh yeah. That is where Tucson is.
I can give you the wrong directions if you want.
Yes, I listen to it a lot. It's been a big influence in my life. So I want to take this opportunity to thank you all. Like you guys, I told this to Sean earlier, you guys have saved my life. Like this podcast, 100%. It's the only thing I could laugh at for years.
Thank you. Thanks,
Seriously.
dude.
But I wasn't my parting shot. My parting shot was, even if it's really, really hard, always be honest with people, because that'll make you grow. That made me grow. And like, it's really hard and most people will appreciate it.
Right.
So yeah.
Wow.
That
That's
is,
actually a great parting shot.
That's a great
I know.
That's
This
like one of
is
the
Zach
best.
Race, everybody,
oh, Zach
from
Zach.
Tucson, Arizona.
Well
Zach.
done, dude. Well done.
6'9".
Crushing it.
I've seen your name. You bought my Canonders.
Holy
I sent
shit.
you
So
maybe
he
more
bought
than
your
one.
Canonders. He ain't
Yes.
that smart.
Jamie's like,
all right,
"Hey,
guys,
have you
we
ever
gotta
seen a
read
$100 pencil?
If you like $100 out, you're gonna love the $1,000 Sharpie.
Can I interest you in a pencil, sir, or you can erase it from this end and write with this end?
I know we're going long. Real quick, I never have anything to plug. I just want to plug real quick out there. The Joker's Wild on TBS.
right.
It's a
Snoop
game show I
Dogg's.
worked on. It's hosted by Snoop Dogg. It's airing now.
Fucking
I would
Joe
love
sold us
anyone.
out.
I would love anyone who listens to the show to check it out. TBS, The Joker's Wild. It's airing now. Enjoy it. Thank you very much.
Yes, yes. Joker's Wild. Please check it out. We want to say a special thanks to Stand Up Live, the Tempe Improv, and Chico Malo, where we had
Delicious.
lunch today,
Great
which was
Mexican food.
amazing.
Really good.
Delicious. Thanks to our engineer, Aaron Brungart. Give him
Thank
a
you,
hand.
Aaron.
Thanks to the wonderful staff here at the All Things Comedy Festival. Give them a hand. Jack is here, and there are lots of other people involved. And
Zach and
Jill.
Zach and Maury, Mark,
Zach
and
Mark
Victor.
And Victor.
What's
Yeah.
happening?
Those are the people sitting in the audience.
Oh, you made it sound like they were staff.
Oh no,
That's
no,
what
no.
I thought you were doing, is listing more.
Oh,
But yes,
and-
thank you guys for coming to the show.
And Bill Burr and Al Madrigal.
Silver and Al Madrigal for putting the whole thing together. Thank you to All Things Comedy. Thank you all for listening and watching The Long Shot. We'll see you next time.
Good night.
Standing guy.